Carlos Saisu, ESPN Los Angeles, on the road to recovery with Dr. Alan Beyer, presented by Hoag Orthopedic Institute. Dr. B, one of the best times of the year. Championship Sunday is coming right up, but we've got some injuries to talk about. One big one, of course, obviously, with the Rams playing the Seahawks. All eyes will be on Sam Darnold and his oblique injury. Dr. B, you heard about the oblique report. We all did. Thursday before last week's game? That
Yep.
came out as surprising news. What have you heard? What have you seen about Darnold's oblique injury so far?
Well, the only thing I saw, he did reasonably well on Sunday. I mean, the whole team did reasonably well. Let's face it, he left the game, I think, with 9 or 10 minutes left. Um, but they've kept him out of practice some this week. So they've definitely limited his practice this week. So clearly this isn't just a little minor hiccup that's better a week later. He's still feeling it, and he's not doing as much throwing as usual during practice this week. Figures to be ready for the championship game, NFC championship game on Sunday. But it's there. It's going to be there, and you can't speed up the recovery from an injury like that. All you can do is go with it and make your game plan around it, and hope for the best. They're playing a team that's a little tougher than the team they played last week, who was really, really beat up.
You touch on it right there, a big blowout against the San Francisco 49ers, which means that he did not have to throw the ball a lot. He handed the ball a lot. That was why Kenneth Walker was really the star of the game last week in the divisional round. But he's going against the Rams, and now you kind of touched on it last week versus this week. He's not feeling any better. He's limiting his throws in practice. What could he be feeling now in his oblique?
Well, I don't think he aggravated it at all with what he did last week. Although, you know what? Just taking hits aggravates it too. I mean, he'll be wearing a flak vest. These guys always wear flak vests now, it seems. It's part of their standard equipment. But the thing about the obliques, it's an injury that bothers quarterbacks more than any other position because those muscles are important to moving and holding your core steady when you're turning and doing throwing motion. So if he's called upon to throw, it's going to have an impact. And with the Rams offense the way it is, I think he's going to be called upon to throw. They're down a running back too. So we could talk about that in a minute. But I think that it's going to be more of an issue this week for him than it was last week.
I love that point. And yes, we will talk about Zach Charbonnet in a second. But again, from a football fan perspective, this is Sam Darnold, who has a bad history against the Rams. He was seeing ghosts against them in the first meeting this season. Last season, he was knocked out as a Minnesota Viking quarterback by them in the playoffs. And then the last meeting that they had, he didn't exactly win it. I mean, yeah, they had that lucky 2-point conversion call in overtime, or that forced overtime against the Rams. So this is Sam Darnold, who already has a tough history with the Rams, and now add the oblique injury. And I don't know what to expect from Darnold, Doc.
Well, he's had two great seasons in a row with two different teams. Number one. Number two, they're playing in Seattle. That's a big advantage. Seattle's is a big home field advantage. It's
One of the
it's
best home field
one of
advantages
the
in the
best home
NFL.
field
Yes.
advantages in the NFL. Absolutely. Um, I don't buy that whole seeing ghost thing. They played twice this year. They split those games. One was by 2 points, one was by 1 point. I mean, could you play two closer games against an opponent? It's kind of good that they split the games because we always hear that old wives' tale of, oh, it's hard to beat the same team two or three times in one season. So that's off the table. This is the tiebreaker in terms of who wins the season series. Sam Darnold's a mature quarterback. He's got a lot of confidence. The rest of his team is playing really, really well around him. I'm not buying all that hearing ghost things. I think that I'm leaning towards the Rams in this game, to tell you the truth. I just think that they're gonna be putting up some points in this game. I really, really think they're gonna be putting up some points.
Wow. So Dr. B continues to see road success for the Rams. And one of those reasons could be because of the absence of Zach Charbonnet, who is now out for the season. It's ACL or Achilles?
No, I think it was ACL MCL.
It was the ACL MCL
Yeah.
for Charbonnet, and that was a big factor of the Seahawks' success all season, especially early last week, where they had a two-headed attack on the running game with Charbonnet and Kenneth Walker. Now Charbonnet out, that's one less weapon for an injury beaten up Darnold and the Rams offense.
Yes, it is, but this is the playoffs. You leave it all out there. Um, and the fact that Walker had such a good game last week is going to give him a lot of confidence. But, it also gives the Rams defense ability to just focus in on stopping one guy rather than having to stop two different guys who have two different running styles. So that's certainly a blow to the Seattle offense.
One big blow to the Broncos offense was the loss of Bo Nix. Yeah, now looking at the opposite side of the spectrum, Jared Stidham now starting at the quarterback position in a championship in the AFC Championship game, just as like we all thought, right? Uh,
Against his former team.
against his former team. So Doc, all eyes were on Bo Nix at the end of the game, and everybody, Broncos fans or other teams fans, were shocked to hear that Bo Nix will miss the championship game and maybe even the start of next season, right? After this ankle injury.
Well, I'm assuming it's an isolated fibular fracture, which interestingly enough, he's had the same injury twice before. Once in high school and at Auburn. So
Wow.
this is the third time he's had that same ankle broken. And usually I've always been one who's fond of saying when you have a fracture and it heals, it's stronger than it was originally. He certainly debunks that whole theory. But it's very controversial as to when it happened. I know that coach said it was the second to last play of the game, but I looked at the tape and it didn't look like it was about 3 or 4 plays before that. And it's this type of ankles fracture is really the same as a sprain, only it's the bone that cracks a little bit instead of the ligament tearing. But I think that he'll likely be back by next season, by the beginning of next season. I just feel terrible. You just hate to see a guy take a team all the way and then win the game for the next to last game and then be out for the championship, the AFC championship game. That's just always terrible to see. Stidham has a really, really solid reputation as a backup quarterback, but he hasn't been running the plays all season long. I mean, there's no getting around that. You need the reps, and he doesn't have the reps, and that's certainly a significant blow to their chances against New England, even though the game is in Denver.
So are we assuming that your prediction is going to be New England?
I think I'm leaning towards it. New England is having a season almost like Indiana in college football, which, by the way, is one of the greatest college football games in recent memory on Monday night, um, and a fitting end to the season, I might add. But Vrabel has really, really done something to this team in his first year as the coach, the culture and everything else, and they just seem to be on a mission.
A worst to first turnaround. So with Dr. B's prediction, I guess we're getting a rematch of Super Bowl 53, Rams versus Patriots.
Yeah, and I'm thinking that I'm leaning towards the Rams.
Okay. Wow. So there you go, Dr. B's prediction. And Doc, what's your history with predictions?
Usually pretty terrible. Um,
Okay, let's take it with a
But I did have a teaser with Miami plus 13 and over 41 points on Monday night. So I'm on a little bit of a run.
let's see if your run continues this weekend or this Sunday with the huge championship Sunday matchups and looking ahead to the Super Bowl. But Doc, I know we'll be talking ahead again for the big Super Bowl Sunday game.
Yes, we certainly will. One way or the other, even if nobody further is injured, it pays to talk about the state of the teams at that time.
Absolutely. Well, Doc, what's going on, Doc in the dugout?
Special guest this week, Michael Watson, a former NBA player. He's just written a really interesting book about a fellow named Myron Piggy, who really was an AAU basketball coach. He was the one who brought Corey Maggette along and several other NBA players. Fascinating story that predates NIL. and everything else. But he was right in the center of things when everything blew up about AAU basketball back a number of years ago. It's a fascinating story and a fascinating read.
Looking forward to hearing all about that, Doc. Doc, thanks again for joining us on the Road to Recovery presented by the Hoag Orthopedic Institute.